This is modern homesteading. Chad McKnight wrote, "What's the purpose of putting a stick across a tight winch cable? By putting a coat or a stick across a cable, if it breaks, that little bit of weight will force it down, so it's a safety issue." John Last wrote, "Where did the channel name come from? Does it have any meaning to it?" It started with my very first YouTube videos were making Jeep Wrangler videos. I used to have a wrecking yard and dealt with those parts. The Star portion of it came from our last off-grid property, was right at the base of Star Mountain. So those two names came together to form Wranglerstar. Ben Steiner wrote, "I can't wait for 9.0. Ostrin1 wrote, "Why do you have a gun? Is it against people or animals?" It's against both. CJ Kilbride wrote, "Hey Cody, when you go to the crosscut saw class, are you going to share that information in future timber framing videos?" I am. I'll be doing a whole series of videos on that, from building a saw vise to sharpening to the tools needed, so stand by for that. I need to learn myself before I can teach anyone. Speed4207 wrote, "Your sister is way prettier than you." Well, that's just mean. Livio Garcia wrote, "Why do you have a gun?" I don't understand the question. Touristify took issue of me allowing young boys to use axes. There were a lot of, if this were to happen, these could be the consequences. If they did this, someone could get hurt. It's not me that is putting children in danger. It is that exact attitude, that coddling nature, that making them afraid of their own shadow by expecting nothing of them. That does more damage to children than putting an axe in their hand and showing them how to use tools safely. Alabama Outdoors wrote, "I love these videos, can't wait to see the 9.0. Mike Jones wrote and asked me if I'd ever considered swapping out the cable for the synthetic rope on my winch. I have considered it, but from what I understand that the cables are much more durable when dragging along rocks and gravel and dirt, so I haven't switched just for that reason, durability. Anthony Head wrote, "Why do you fly the Swedish flag?" Well, Mrs. Wranglerstar's mother's from Sweden, and Mrs. Wranglerstar speaks the language and has lived and taught over there, and we maintain a lot of those Swedish, of that heritage and history. And of course, all things in Swedish in our house are good, except for the food. Zach Hemian wrote, "I saw a guy who took his cans and used them to line his office wall." Dan Marshall wrote, "Somehow I just can't figure out how to get to your sister's YouTube channel." Click it. Click that. Right there. Right there. James Clash wrote, "Why do you need a military-grade assault rifle in your home? Here in Australia, nobody has one." Well, when China occupies your country, you'll be able to answer that question yourself. Mizmerman12 wrote, "Hey, when are we going to finally see some timber framing?" Ammer1010 wrote, "Hey, trees are people too." Jason Gibbs wrote, "Hey man, you're gonna run out of trees if you keep cutting them down." Well, Jason, that's the point. Don't you see how much work they are? Once I get rid of this pest, then I won't have to bother about it anymore. 1962 Mongman said, "Hey, save the preaching and get a lot more subs." Well, whether I should listen to you or God, you decide. Jim Watson wanted to know if I have a background in video production. I don't. My highest aim to video production a few years ago was if I could simply splice clips. My early videos, I would have to shoot in one take because I didn't know how to splice clips together. So I appreciate the compliment. However, I'm like a child playing with things I don't understand. I enjoy doing it, but I have a lot to learn. Limmick 1915. Were you thinking slab or can't? 103M95G15 asks, "What do you do with all the sawdust you accumulate from the sawmilling?" I save it for Mrs. Wranglerstar, and she uses it in the garden. Biker Bob 5915 made this statement, "Dang, that looks like a lot of work," referring to cutting your own timbers. It is a lot of work, Bob, but the way I look at it is that the amount of timbers that I was able to cut yesterday would cost over $200 if you had to go buy them. How long does it take a guy to earn $200 working at a job for wages? You know, depends on the job, but could for most guys a day and a half. That's a lot of work as well. So that's the way I look at it. Either you can go to a job, work for someone else to make the money to pay someone else for the things you want, or you can work yourself and just do it that way. So for me, it's kind of a push. Leonard Birds wrote, "Those new boots are getting a workout. How are they breaking in?" It takes about 50-60 hours to break in a proper pair of boots, so I'll let you know in 2 weeks. I'll do a video update on it, but so far so good. Matt Panko wrote he liked the music in the last timber framing video and wanted to know who the artist was. Amanda Shires, and the song is Swimmer. The Sheridans make videos, ask a question about how do I get so many camera angles, and does anyone help me, or does Mrs. Wranglerstar do any help? I don't have any help. I do everything myself, the video editing, all of the camera. I shoot from a lot of different angles. For a 10-minute video, for me, it's not uncommon to have anywhere from 75 to 125 individual takes. I think that's what makes a video watchable. It's difficult for me to watch someone doing something that puts a camera on a tripod and it just remains static. So I try to make them as watchable as possible. That's why it requires so many takes. And I like to shoot different angles. So I'll lay the camera down, put the camera up, stand it up on top of my truck on the cab, prop it up on a rock on the ground, keep things interesting, getting from different angles. I used to be a still photographer and shot weddings and such, and I learned a lot from that, of developing an eye for what looks good, and I've just tried to translate that into video as well. Charles Tinch wanted to know if I would send him some Bigfoot chili mix. I would be happy to. I'll need you to fill out a request form. Simply get a Sharpie and write your personal information on the side of a 660 still with a 42-inch bar, that's 42-inch, and send that here, and I will get that chili right out to you. Jimmy Russell just wrote to inform me that he has proposed to his girlfriend. Congratulations, Jimmy, and to the future Mrs. Russell. 07 McGregor wrote, if the stick in your eye offends you, then carry the beam you have over your shoulder. There's something profound there, isn't there? I'm still cogitating on that stick and the beam on the shoulder. I don't think I've plumbed the depths of that yet. These videos are fun to do. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, where do I get the questions? I just go through the last couple hundred questions or so in the morning, and I just pick out the ones that kind of appeal to me. So, the most recent. So, if you like these videos, please show me by commenting. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these. Maybe if we get a lot of support or a lot of feedback from you guys, we could do these once a week or so. I enjoy doing them. They're fun, and I get a lot of positive feedback from them. So, also, if you haven't, right now is a good time to click the like button. I know, it's annoying being asked all the time, but if I don't ask you, you don't do it. So I'm going to ask. If you'd like to, if you're new to the channel and you'd like to subscribe, I'd invite you to do that now as well. You will get notifications when a new video comes up. So that's it. As is my custom over here. I picked out a couple videos for you, bringing the old back, bringing the old for the new. So you might enjoy those. And again, those of you guys that are watching on mobile, which I found out are a lot more than I thought, I will put those links in the subject box because the annotations at the end are not clickable. So those will be there for you, for your viewing pleasure. So, Timber Framing 9.0 is in the can and should be up maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday, but very soon. And that's it. So we'll see you guys on the next video.